Chen. 2 sets to 1, 7-5, 3-6, 10-6.
In the most spectacular comeback imaginable, Alex Eala and her partner Janice Chen just destroyed a Grand Slam champion doubles duo at the Abu Dhabi Open. Despite having every advantage on paper, Leylah Fernandez and former world number 1 Kristina Mladenovic were unable to win the match. There was a complete collapse during the final set tiebreaker. Eala chose to switch to beast mode, and higher rankings mattered nothing at all. Is Alex Eala still a few years away from making it into the top 50 in doubles this year, in your opinion? Leave your guess in the space provided below. On paper, Alex Eala and Janice's clash appeared to be terrible, so let's establish the scene right away. Chin. They were competing against Kristina Mladenovic, ranked 55th and a former world number 1 doubles player, and Leylah Fernandez, who is presently rated 81st in the world. That is the pinnacle of championship pedigree, not simply experience. In doubles, Eala is presently ranked 136, Chen is ranked 68th. On paper, the more seasoned, higher-ranked team should have easily won this match. However, rankings don't affect wins later on when you're struggling, and tennis isn't played on paper. The fact that the game lasted 1 hour and 33 minutes tells you right away that neither team put up a strong show. This was a back-and-forth conflict with ever-changing momentum. Neither side was able to take total control. And when games last that long with that much intensity, mental toughness takes precedence over experience or rankings. From the start, the first set was close. At 5-5, neither team was able to break free, so they remained locked. Then, for some reason, Eala and Chen found a different gear and won the following 2 games to end the set 7-5. If you are Fernandez and Mladenovic, that is the worst way to lose a set. There you are. You're even. Then, all of a sudden you are down 1-0 and have lost the set. Such a collapse can cause severe psychological harm. You begin to doubt your choice of shot. You begin to doubt your lover. When you lose a set you should have won, the confidence that comes with having a high ranking begins to fade. However, Fernandez and Mladenovic deserve praise for their flawless response in the second set. They created distance and put pressure back on their opponents by turning a 2-2 stalemate into a 4-2 lead. In order to stay within striking distance, Eala and Tien were able to win the 7th game and move the score to 3-4. However, they were totally blanked for the remainder of the performance. A decisive third set was required after Fernandez and Mladenovic won the last 2 games without giving up a single point. At this point, the game becomes truly intriguing from the standpoint of sports psychology. You are Mladenovic and Fernandez. You simply dominated the second set's conclusion. The momentum is all with you. Your experience and rankings are excellent. You've encountered these circumstances innumerable times previously. It should be a formality to complete the third set. Finish it off, advance to the quarterfinals, and get your prize money and appearance fee. However, it was not the case. Not even near. Instead of the customary 7-point tiebreaker in singles, the third set ended in a tiebreaker, which in doubles is a race to 10 points. And Tien and Eala jumped out to a 4-1 advantage right away. 4-1 in a tiebreaker against a Grand Slam champion and former world number 1. That is not fortuitous. That's performance under extreme pressure. This is when it becomes very dramatic, though. The next 2 points were won by Mladenovic and Fernandez, reducing the margin to 3-4. Eala or Chen's double fault, the worst way to lose a point in a tiebreaker, was the cause of one of those points. By making unforced mistakes, you are essentially giving away free points. The higher-ranked team was gaining significant momentum. Then Tian and Ella accomplished something truly remarkable. In response, they won the next 2 points right away, increasing their lead to 6-3. That is the mindset of a champion. Your opponents take advantage of a costly mistake you make, but you don't panic and win the next 2 points. That's what separates athletes who are simply gifted from those who are becoming real professionals. Now that you are Mladenovic and Fernandez, you are sure to be eliminated. In a sprint to 10, you're behind 3-6. 7 points are required. Your rivals just require 4. The math is soon becoming quite unpleasant, and champions are expected to set themselves apart at this point. Experience and ancestry should take control in this situation. Here, the Grand Slam champion performs well under duress, while the former world number 1 makes the crucial shots. They retaliated, tying the score at 6-6. The tiebreaker was suddenly evenly distributed once more. They regained all of the momentum they had lost. The pressure must have been on Leylah and Chen now. They had lost a lead of 6-3. Their opponents had every reason to think they were going to pull off a full-scale comeback. If you make 1 or 2 blunders, this match is over. However, according to the match report, Ella and Chen made all the required stops and ended the tiebreaker 10-6 instead of giving up. They defeated a former world number 1 doubles player and Grand Slam champion, winning 4 of the last 6 points. The lower-ranked, less experienced team performed better during the match's most stressful periods. It's not a coincidence. That is not fortuitous. That is true mental fortitude. Let's discuss the implications of this outcome for each participant. This is just another turning point in Alex Eala's already truly remarkable career path. She's only 21. When you consider that there are thousands of professional tennis players, her ranking of 136th in doubles seems poor. It's also really amazing to be in the top 150 at age 21. Additionally, because she is Filipino, she lacks access to the funds, facilities, and training materials that athletes from more affluent nations take for granted. For all that she has achieved, she has had to struggle. And she most likely had an advantage in this battle because of her mental toughness. Being the underdog is nothing new to her. Fighting from behind is nothing new to her. She is accustomed to being underestimated. In doubles, Janice Chun, an Indonesian, is ranked 68th. Despite being a little older than Ella at 24, she is still very much in the early phases of her career. It is a wise move for these two to be working together. They both hail from Southeast Asian nations, are budding athletes hoping to make it to the top level and gain from their growing friendship. Since Fernandez and Mladenovic are truly devastated by this loss, let's now discuss the opposing viewpoint. During the 2021 US Open, Leylah Fernandez embarked on an amazing run as a teenager, defeating several elite players and making it to the final, making her a household name. She is a Grand Slam singles finalist, which is a huge achievement. She is obviously skilled in team events as well, as seen by her 81st ranked ranking in doubles. In doubles, Kristina Mladenovic is much more skilled. She has won several Grand Slam doubles championships. She is recognized as the top person in the world. For more than 10 years, she has been performing at an outstanding level. Players ranked 136th and 68th in the globe shouldn't be defeating this person. Professional tennis isn't meant to operate that way. They did lose, though. And lose, not just lose, but lose after several chances to win the game. They easily won the second set. After falling behind 3-6, they tied the tiebreaker at 6-6. Despite having all the momentum and experience, they were unable to complete. Losing anything like that wears you down mentally. Music, bad luck, unfavorable circumstances, or injuries are not to blame. You just lost to lower-ranked opponents in the decisive moments. You must return to your hotel room and tell your coach why you didn't win. When someone asks you what went wrong, you have to deal with it. The fact that you might not be as good as your ranking indicates is something you have to face. This video's title talks about crying and panicking. Furthermore, the competitive breakdown in that tiebreaker speaks for itself, even though there is no concrete evidence of tears or obvious panic. Panic occurs when you're in a tiebreaker and unable to close. A meltdown occurs when you tie the score at 6-6 and then lose 4 of the next 6 points right away. Your thoughts are racing. You're playing terrified rather than aggressive, and you're overanalyzing every shot. Leylah and Chen go on to play either the second-seeded pair of Kristina Ba and Shui Jiang, or the Ukrainian twins Nadia and Ludakino. Both games will be challenging, but given their performance in this win, they have a good chance of pulling off another upset. This triumph is much more noteworthy in the larger context of Filipino tennis. In tennis, the Philippines has never been a dominant force. The nation produces top-notch boxers, basketball players, and other sportsmen. However, tennis necessitates costly equipment, specialized coaching, and access to first-rate facilities, all of which are not generally accessible. Leylah and her family have made many sacrifices over the years for her to be competing and succeeding at this level. Earlier in her career, Rafael Nadal reportedly gave Eala guidance that helped her change her ways. That fact, which was mentioned in relevant papers, demonstrates that even the greatest of all time see her potential. Someone like Rafael Nadal recognizes something unique when he takes the time to coach a young player. And triumphs such as these demonstrate that he was correct. Tennis doubles demands a different set of skills than singles. You and your partner must have chemistry. During points, you must be able to communicate clearly in real time. In ways that singles does not demand, you must comprehend placement, stroke selection, and when to be aggressive versus defensive. Due to their inability to adjust to the dynamics of the team, some players perform well in singles but poorly in doubles. Leylah's dual skill set is evident. Results like this will improve their ranking and get them better seats at upcoming events, and her partnership with Chen is progressing well. Easy early round matches and increased prospects of deep runs that yield substantial prize money and ranking points are two benefits of improved seeding. Professional tennis below the top 50 has a harsh financial reality. You are responsible for covering the costs of coaching, travel, lodging, equipment, and physiotherapy yourself. You're most likely losing money unless you're constantly getting far into draws or winning tournaments. These kinds of victories are crucial because they maintain your financial viability while paving the way for breakthrough outcomes. Tennis fans in Indonesia and the Philippines are likely to react with pride and celebration. There aren't many top-tier professional tennis players from these nations. So when their representatives win matches like these, it provides genuine national pride and encouragement for future players who could continue the sport. There is a sharp difference between tennis fans in the US, France, and Australia. It is expected and unremarkable for them to have players in the top 100. A player breaking into the top 150 is a huge accomplishment for Indonesia and the Philippines that should be celebrated. Despite having Filipino ancestry through her father, Fernandez promotes Canada abroad. That dual connection certainly makes this result more interesting for Filipino supporters. Complex emotions and narratives are created when one of their own defeats a Filipino-American who is chosen to represent another nation. Another complexity is added by the fact that Mladenovic is French and a former world number 1. With its amazing resources and infrastructure, France is a tennis superpower. Even while the ranking difference isn't as great as that metaphor implies, it is still David versus Goliath stuff for a Filipino player to upset a French former world number 1 in a deciding set tiebreaker. Going forward, the quarterfinal game will be yet another important challenge. Since the Kino twins are actually twins who have played together their entire lives, they have a great deal of chemistry. They have an edge over non-twin relationships that must be developed over time through competition and experience because of this innate understanding. Leylah and Chen are playing the second seeds, meaning they have a strong chance of winning if they take on Ba and Jiang instead. Even more significant than this triumph over Fernandez and Mladenovic would be pulling off that upset. It would declare them as real challengers instead of uplifting underdog tales. It is impossible to overestimate the mental confidence boost this victory has given you. You demonstrate to yourself that you belong at this level when you defeat better skilled, higher-ranking opponents in a deciding set tiebreaker. You will remember that you have done this before the next time you encounter a similar circumstance. This self-assurance reinforces itself and produces stronger outcomes under pressure in the future. Rankings are meaningless when you perform better than your rivals under duress, as demonstrated by Alex Eala and Janice Jen. After tying it at 66, Fernandez and Mladenovic choked away the decisive tiebreaker despite having every edge. Eala is at the forefront of the growing tennis scene in Southeast Asia. Click like and subscribe to track her ascent to the top.